Along here is DreamHack, but alas, let us introduce these players. Spawning in the top left position as our pink Zerg player coming in for Evil Geniuses, it is Stephano. With, I might say, a daringly narrow escape in game number 1. And spawning in the bottom right position, man, he got all the trades that game, but the creep kept him off of his economy. And, well, as much as you trade bio in the late game, you need a lot of gas to keep that going. But can he take it back and even things out? It is Empire's Koss. Well. I mean, in game number 1, we saw Koss go for a pretty standard opener that almost every Terran player has in their arsenal. It's arguably the most popular one versus the Command Center first style into 3CC, that being the Reaper. And Stephano correcting his error in game number 1 of saying, good luck, have fun, Koss. Koss made a comment in game number 1, if you guys missed, about Stephano changing and not calling him Misha anymore. So, always good to see friendly banter. But Koss this game, in terms of build choice, it looks like he will go for the Command Center first. Akalon Flats, or Wastes. It's a map that really favors these macro styles. In fact, the third base and the fourth base are so easy to take and secure, it almost always leads to late game scenarios if there isn't some sort of really fast all-in. And Stephano going for the 15 hatch as well. We're going to see a pretty regular openers from both of these players. Now, putting the Command Center on the low ground is a little bit of a risk in terms of having to deal with really fast Ling aggression, or even just a drone scout poking away at an SCV building a Command Center. But Stephano will choose not to drone scout, so I have to say he's got to be feeling a little bit comfortable. He will open with gas, however, and this will give him a couple of options, because if Koss was going for, say, something like a Reaper, he would have the option to get speedlings to defend against that. But now, seeing this Command Center first in the low ground, we could see Stephano try to get really aggressive. And, I mean, considering that he is currently up 1-0 in this best of 3, he's definitely in a fine position to go for that aggression. But I guess Stephano had to fix something really quickly, possibly sound bug. But yeah, so upon seeing this Command Center first, he could get on the aggressive. Koss's follow-up will be the barracks and then the gas. Very standard to see. Terran players produce about, what, 2 Marines and then a reactor, getting a factory as well as a third Command Center the majority of the time. And it's a pretty standard way to play. And almost every Terran player basically currently against Zerg either 2 Raxes, goes Command Center first into 3CC, or goes Reaper into 3CC. And it's not unusual to see why the economy that Koss had was very good, but getting his 4th Command Center up so late really hurt him. And on this map, it's actually going to be so easy to get a 4th Command Center. Majority of players will take their 3rd in the upper right area because you can kind of cover it from the high ground. It's right in front of your natural, and then that allows this pocket expansion to be much more easily protected as a 4th base. Rather than taking an outward 4th. So this easier economy should really favor Koss in this game, based on what made him really lose game number 1. So we are going to have a Roach Horn out of Stephano, though. He knows what's up. He says, hey, I'm up 1-0. This map has such a huge ramp. Akalon Wastes. There's so much space to cover here. Walling this off against Roach attacks or really fast speedling or baneling attacks is very difficult to do this early in the game. We do have the factory about to complete, but oh goodness, if Koss goes straight into Hellion production, he is going to have a hard time versus these Roaches. The Roach Horn is about to complete. Stephano getting up a couple more drones, though. He's not going to go for a complete all-in style. He's going to saturate both bases, it looks like, before he goes into any real aggression. And yeah, Roaches are on the way now, though, in a very fast armory for Koss. So this is an interesting opening that we're seeing out of our Empire Terran. He's choosing to forego the 3CC build and go for what could be a very fast Hellbat drop. And there's the starport beginning now. And we actually could see the barracks build a reactor, and oh my goodness, he is. So he is going to go for a very fast double Hellbat drop to follow this up with. And while under normal circumstances that would be fine, it's not going to do too much versus these Roaches. He's actually going to just drive right on past them. Stephano, though, he's actually not making too many. It looks like it's just going to be about 5 Roaches. This isn't really much of a poke build. It's It's more of a shove. He just wants to see, maybe make sure that Koss is alive, clean up any Hellions on the field, and make sure he's not being too greedy. But Koss should be able to hold this no problem. He has managed to complete his wall. The Roaches are poking away, trying to grab at least an SCV kill, maybe kill this supply depot if he can, realizing that he really wants to make these Roaches cost effective to some extent. Being able to pick off one of the Hellions there was a pretty nice move for Stephano, but the Hellbats are coming. The Hellbats are coming. He's going to land this starport on the reactor. He has a good mineral bank to produce these Hellbats with and add on barracks. He's actually going to go for double engineering behind this. So the very fast Hellbat drop out of the command center first, straight into bio. Pretty interesting build here from Koss. This could definitely pay off big dividends if he can get in unscouted. But Stephano already putting some overlords outside the main base of Koss. He's got the airspace under wraps for the most part. He's got the tower as well as an overlord in the top right. He's going double evolution chamber. And Stephano actually going to go for his +1 Roach attack to start things off. So we could see a little bit of Roach Hydra from Stephano, one of the players that really pioneered this in Wings of Liberty. And now, well, it's only gotten buffs in Heart of the Swarm. So this should be really interesting to see. Lair is halfway done. We do have these medevacs moving out, but, ooh, goodness, this is going to be, this could do a lot of damage. This Roach might actually walk right by the medevacs. He will see them. Stephano will be able to spot the medevacs. Now, will he respond in time is the question. He is going to need a couple of Roaches to hold this. He's going to be able to spot a Spore Crawler in the mineral line. You need a bit of static defense to hold this, and right now he just doesn't have that many units. These drops could actually do devastating amounts of damage. He is now moving in towards the main base. There are a couple of Queens here. This is going to be so difficult for Stephano to deal with. The drones are in danger. Koss getting very, very close. He gets a couple of great hits off on these workers. The Queens will be able to take out one of these medevacs, and ooh, how that will go down. But Koss has done a pretty favorable amount of damage. He got about four drones. Actually not, well, it looked like he did a lot more damage than that, in all honesty. Not actually very cost effective, but in terms of what he did to Stephano, he forced him to build more Roaches. He forced him to throw on that Spine Crawler, and he did lose a couple of his Queens. It really looked like he did a lot more behind that. And behind this, we do have the 1-1 finishing up pretty soon for Koss. He's got his reactors on his barracks, moving over to kill these rocks. He may take the third base on this side, but third command center is done. Not an orbital just yet. And Stephano, well, he's saturated on 3 bases. He's getting his 2-2 for his ranged, and he's actually about a minute or so ahead of the upgrades of Koss. And Koss's stim pack isn't even done yet, so he has no aggressive opportunities for the most part, aside from these Hellbat drops. And he's going to load up a Hellbat with a couple of Marines, going for a little bit of a bio Hellbat drop. But like I said, without stim, not going to be done for another minute. He won't be able to do terrible amount of damage. And Stephano, once he gets this Roach speed, is going to allow him to be a lot more mobile on the field. We do have Hydralisks finally coming out onto the field as well as the Hydralisk range upgrade. And, well, here come the medevacs. Is he going to be able to take out any drones at this third base? Koss really needs to do some damage here before Stephano's macro gets out of control. The Hellbat really hitting a lot of the drones, but not killing them. And that's a really big issue here. He's actually going to split the drop into the main base, and he's just focusing down drones right now. He realizes he needs to do some damage to Stephano before this French monster can completely just swarms him to death. And he has landed the third command center inside of the pocket base. He wants to be a bit protective of this. Not really that surprising of a decision. But he won't have the easiest fourth base in the world to acquire because of that. So medevacs just kind of boosting around. Overlord spread for Stephano. Still looking very, very good. He's able to see most anything that could go across the map, at least in terms of drops. But gonna drop this tower. Stephano's army gonna be here to catch this. Oh my goodness, that medevac's got 6 HP. So close to dying. Stephano almost got a really big hit there, but now we have mines on the field as well for Koss. And I kind of like the decision for Stephano to go for the Roach Hydra build, largely because in game number 1, he took a lot of unnecessary damage because of Widow Mines. But when you go for this composition, you have so much range that all you have to do is make sure you have Overseers, and then you generally won't accidentally run into mines unless you're trying a bit too hard to chase. Unless you're trying too hard to chase the Bioforce into the mines. And a lot of Hellbats for Koss. He's kind of going for a bit of a Bio Hellbat build. And I in all honesty, Hellbats, not that great versus Roaches and Hydralisks. If you can get them on top of them, sure. The Hellbats will roast Hydras as much as they would anything else. But they can be kited pretty easily. And Widow Mine, I think Stephano sees it. It does become visible for just a second if you walk towards it. We have a drop moving out, though, for Koss. It's going to be a Hellbat, a Marauder, and 2 Marines. And Koss, he's pushing out. He is moving with his forces. His 2-2 is about halfway done. Keep in mind, 2-2 has been done for a little bit for Stephano. Infestation Pit just starting. He is not going to get the craziest hive timing possible, but he is going to be able to move towards those Vipers that he might want to use for this, and he's going to be engaging, right? No, he needs to be so careful. Where are the Overseers? Oh, he's gonna let that Roach eat a little bit of pavement here on the Widow Mine, and with this mine might be able to take out a Hydralisk. Nice little catch there. But with this Rock Tower here, the Destructible Rock Tower, pushing in would be a little bit risky for Stephano. His army could get split in half, possibly just crushed by this, but a drop at the same time has finally hit that top right base. Not really killed too much. Stephano didn't have too many drones, and he's just going to push in. He's just going to go for a really big attack here. So many Hydralisks, but the arc for Koss looking fantastic, even though he's behind in upgrades. And Stephano fighting his hardest. The Koss being slightly behind in upgrades is going to hurt him in the longer the engagement goes on. However, it does look like he might barely be able to. No, he will not kill this Hatcher. He gets out with 200 hit points. Medevac will abort mission, but Stephano still has a very, very powerful army. These Hydralisks, so much DPS. He will need to replenish some of his Roaches. He has 20 of them coming out right now. This will, of course, give him a lot more tanking and sustainability versus the composition. And since the Hydralisks don't actually have any base armor, the +2 just puts them at 2, and the Roaches are at 3, which is quite significant when you really take into account how fast Marines attack. They get in so many hits in a given fight that being able to reduce the amount of damage that one hit does when you get hit 20 times, it's quite a lot. So we do have Koss moving out onto the field. 3-3 has started for the Ukrainian Terran, and moving out into this creep is just going to be so dangerous for him. There's not really any mine to support this force. Again, he has to stem, and Stephano with a huge army heading over there, but you do have a drop another 2 Marines, Marauder, and a Hellbat in the 4th base of Stephano, but he is moving in with so much Roach Hydra. This is quite a scary situation to be in for Koss. He's taking a lot of damage. His Bioforce is going to get completely shut down by all of these Hydralisks, and now the Medevacs are also looking like they're going to be forfeit as well, pushing in towards the natural expansion. Now the add-ons will be left bare, as well as some of these barracks, and Stephano knowing if you shut down the production facilities of the Terran player, that is basically their lifeblood. This drop killed the 4th, but it doesn't look like it's going to be able to kill the 3rd base, and the fungal growth does go down on there, the natural expansion. He hasn't actually gotten to the economy of Koss yet, but he's trying to rally some forces for try to take this out as best he can, but Stephano just has so much here, splitting off Hydralisks to kill the workers here, and there's the GG from Koss. Stephano takes game number 2 and wins this first match of Group Stage 2. 2-0. Really, really nice play there from Stephano. I have to say that was pretty good. He just completely steamrolled Koss. The number one thing that hurt him in game 1 on Belshir was the Widow Mines. And when you go for Roach Hydra, you just abuse the range. You use the positioning and the mobility of the Hydralisks with the creep spread to just deal tons of damage. And well, that's exactly what he was able to do. So really great play from Stephano. He will take his first win in his group. Coming up here next after this is going to be Evil Geniuses Oz versus Millennium's 4GG. So don't go anywhere, guys. We got more StarCraft action coming at you very soon. This is the DreamHack Stockholm Open 2013. I'm your caster, Nathanias. If you guys like the casting, you can follow me here on Twitch. I cast all sorts of stuff pretty much all the time. And you can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/QuanticNate. But don't go anywhere. We'll get into the next match as soon as we can. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.